There are forces, individuals, groups, and even entire systems who make it their mission to track chosen ones. Their eyes are on you, lurking in the corners of rooms, behind the anonymity of screens, and within the structures of society itself. Some watch with admiration, mesmerized by your energy, while others watch with envy, fear, or even malice. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are a mystery they are desperate to solve, a power they yearn to understand or control. Like hawks circling high above, they observe in silence, waiting for a moment of weakness, a chance to decipher. What makes you different? But unlike ordinary prey, you do not cower beneath their gaze. You are aware, but you do not shrink. You exist in a space where their watching eyes do not define you, but rather confirm your significance. The more they watch, the more their own obsession consumes them. These watchers exist in every environment you step into, workplaces, social circles, public spaces. There are those who smile in your face while secretly dissecting every word you say, waiting to use it to their advantage. There are colleagues who track your successes, not out of inspiration, but out of a silent, growing resentment. And then there are those who you barely notice. Silent figures who seem to appear too often, strangers whose gaze lingers a little, too long online profiles that monitor without interaction. They are taking notes, collecting pieces of you in a desperate attempt to grasp what they will never be able to possess. In the digital world, this fixation is even more insidious. Your presence online, no matter how carefully curated, is being monitored. Screenshots of your words, photos of your movements, saved posts and whispered conversations. Everything is quietly filed away by those who crave proximity to your energy. Some do it in admiration, studying you as a source of inspiration. But others do it with a darker intent, seeking weaknesses, looking for ways to distort your image or manipulate your path. And yet, they rarely act directly. Their power is in their silence, their ability to remain unnoticed while they observe. But make no mistake, the weight of their watching is always there. You may notice it in the way conversations shift when you enter a room, in the knowing glances exchanged when you pass by. You may feel it in the eerie sense of being spoken about in places you have never stepped foot in. The chosen ones move through the world carrying this unseen burden, yet they do not break under its weight. They watch because they are powerless to do anything else. They watch because your existence disrupts their understanding of the world. They watch because they cannot look away. And you continue to shine, untouchable, despite their gaze. Surveillance is no longer just about physical presence. It's an integration of technology and human curiosity. In an era where digital and physical worlds intertwine, the Watchers have more tools than ever to track chosen ones. Every interaction, every post, every movement leaves a trail, and they are following it closely. You may not see them, but they see you. Social media is one of their most powerful weapons. They scroll through your posts, analyzing your words, dissecting your photos, and monitoring your connections. A simple status update, a tagged location, or an innocuous comment can be used to map your patterns. They track where you go, who you interact with, and how you present yourself to the world. To them, every detail is a clue, an insight into your essence, your vulnerabilities, and your strengths. But it doesn't stop there. Hidden cameras, overheard conversations, and seemingly innocent questions all serve the same purpose: gathering information. Strangers may recognize you before you recognize them. You might notice the same unfamiliar faces appearing in different places, lingering just long enough to make you wonder. You may receive cryptic messages from unknown accounts, subtle reminders that your existence is not as private as you once believed. Repeated coincidences are rarely coincidences at all. Seeing the same individual in multiple locations, receiving unsolicited attention from unexpected sources, or noticing unusual engagement on your social media. These are signs. Watchers operate in patterns, and once you learn to recognize them, their presence becomes undeniable. The chosen ones must learn to read between the lines. The world is not just watching, it is recording, analyzing, and categorizing. Your presence is more than a fleeting moment. It is being documented, sometimes for admiration, sometimes for control. The danger lies not just in what is seen, but in what is assumed. Narratives are crafted from fragments, and when those fragments fall into the wrong hands, they can be twisted beyond recognition. Yet, knowledge is power. Awareness is the key to staying in control. When you know you are being observed, you understand the game. And when you understand the game, you cannot be played. Why do they hoard images, videos, and information about chosen ones? Why does your existence linger in their minds long after you've left the room? It's more than mere curiosity. It's an obsession, an insatiable need to possess what they cannot control. Some watchers collect out of admiration, silently worshipping from afar. They save photos, re-watch videos, and replay words in their heads, trying to absorb even a fraction of the energy that radiates from chosen ones. To them, you are a source of inspiration, an entity that captivates their spirit in ways they cannot fully explain. They do not seek to harm, only to hold on to pieces of you, as if by doing so they can claim a part of your essence. But then there are the others, the ones who do not admire but rather seek to dissect. They study you with clinical precision, gathering data like a scientist analyzing an anomaly. Every gesture, every phrase, every movement is filed away for later use. They attempt to decode the source of your magnetism, convinced that if they analyze long enough, they can replicate what comes to you naturally. But what they fail to realize is that true energy, true presence, cannot be duplicated. It is not learned, it is lived. These collectors often do not realize that their own fixation is a prison. The more they gather, the more entangled they become. What begins as simple curiosity turns into an endless cycle. Watching, saving, analyzing, repeating. They trap themselves in the very web they tried to weave around you, and yet despite all their efforts, they remain on the outside looking in. They will never truly know what it feels like to be a chosen one. They can document, they can study, they can hoard, but they cannot become. The irony? The more they try to possess you, the more power they give you. Their obsession does not weaken you, it confirms your influence. Their collection is nothing more than proof of your impact, a testament to the fact that you are unforgettable. They collect because they cannot look away, and they will never stop watching. Your presence cannot be faked. It cannot be duplicated, imitated, or artificially constructed. This is what sets you apart. You don't have to try to be noticed. You simply are. And that is precisely why they watch. Unlike celebrities or influencers who carefully craft their image, you do not need to manufacture an identity. Your energy speaks before you do. The way you carry yourself, the way you enter a room, the way your silence commands attention, people feel you before they even see you. Long after you've left, your presence lingers in their minds, haunting them in ways they can't explain. That is why they study you, some with admiration, others with resentment. The world is conditioned to believe that influence must be earned. Through effort, through manipulation, through carefully curated performances. But you defy that. Your glow is effortless. It is something innate, something no one can replicate, something beyond explanation. And for some, that truth is infuriating. They will try to copy you, convinced that if they mimic your style, your speech, your mannerisms, they can capture the same effect. They will watch how you move, analyze how you speak, and attempt to mold themselves into a version of you. But no matter how hard they try, they will always fall short. What they do not understand is that your magnetism is not surface level. It is woven into the very fabric of who you are. Your power is not just confidence. It is not just charisma. It is resilience. It is the wisdom you gained through suffering, the strength you built through survival, the ability to walk through darkness without losing your light. You do not shine because you want attention. You shine because you have endured, and your energy refuses to be dimmed. And that is why you are both admired and feared. Some are drawn to you, craving even a glimpse of what makes you different. Others resent you, despising the fact that something so powerful exists outside their control. The manipulators, the hidden enemies, the silent competitors, they all orbit around you, waiting for a moment to diminish you. But they fail to realize one thing. Your power is not something external. It is not something that can be stolen or copied. It is something that simply is. And those who try to take it will only find themselves lost in the shadow of something they will never understand. Stop right there. Yes, you. This message isn't for everyone, and if you don't feel it, that's fine. Move along. But if you've felt it deep in your bones, you'll know this is for you. The ones who don't fit in. The ones who see beyond the veil. The ones who've been told to stay quiet, to settle, to conform, but never could. They aren't interested in what's ordinary. They aren't here to follow someone else's rules. They're the light in the dark, the storm that shatters illusions, the unshakable, the unstoppable, the untouchable. While the world is busy running circles, they're walking their own path alone if they must. Not for the applause, not for the approval, but because it's who they are. Here's to the ones who take what was meant to destroy them and transform it into something divine. The ones who carry wisdom that can't be taught, only earned. If this resonates with you, then maybe it's time to find your people. The Obsidian Inner Order is the only place of its kind, the Sub-1 Ascension Nexus for chosen ones, where over 400 of us gather to share wisdom, connect, and transform. No masks, no games, just truth. The link is in the description. If you're ready, you'll know where to find us. If not, that's fine too. The choice is yours. You know you are being watched, but you refuse to live in fear. You do not shrink, you do not hide, and you do not alter your essence to make others comfortable. Instead, you embrace the attention, using it as fuel to solidify your presence. Some of you have already mastered the art of control. You understand that visibility is not a weakness, it is a weapon. By allowing yourself to be seen, you dictate the narrative, ensuring that no one else has the power to define you. The very act of existing in your truth forces those in the shadows to reveal themselves. You thrive under pressure. The weight of watching eyes does not intimidate you, it reminds you of your impact. While others crumble under scrutiny, you rise, knowing that being observed is not a curse, but a confirmation of your significance. Your power lies in your resilience. When the watchers attempt to distort your image, you remain unshaken. When hidden enemies whisper, you continue forward, unbothered. You do not explain yourself, nor do you seek validation. You know who you are, and that alone is enough. You move through the world with unwavering certainty, understanding that attention is inevitable. But instead of fearing it, you wield it. You let your presence speak louder than any rumor, your energy louder than any doubt, because in the end, the truly unstoppable are not those who avoid being watched. The truly unstoppable are those who stand tall despite it. Watching isn't just about observing, it's about control. Those who track you aren't merely passive spectators, they have an agenda. The watchers want influence over your mind, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. This is why they do more than just watch. They manipulate. They plant doubt, making you question your instincts. They distort narratives, twisting your words and actions to fit their own version of the truth. They use whispers, misinformation, and subtle psychological tactics to make you second-guess yourself. This is not random. It is strategic. Online, they attempt to discredit you through rumors and false accusations. In social circles, they spread misinformation, ensuring that your name is spoken even in your absence. Their goal is to weaken you, to make you believe that their version of reality holds more power than your own, but you are always 3 steps ahead. You see the patterns before they unfold, recognizing their tactics for what they are. Desperate attempts to control what they cannot possess. Their games are predictable, and once you see through them, they lose their power. They expect you to react, to defend yourself, to play into their hands. But true chosen ones do not waste energy on proving themselves. You do not explain. You do not justify. You simply exist, untouchable and unbothered. This is what unsettles them most. Their strategy only works on those who seek approval, on those who are unsure of their own power. But you already know who you are, and that makes you immune to their influence. Let them scheme. Let them twist the truth. It changes nothing. You remain unshaken while they exhaust themselves in a battle they have already lost. You feel it before you see it, that strange awareness that eyes are on you, even when no one is around. You sense the shift in energy when you enter a room, the way conversations pause for just a second too long. You notice the same faces appearing in unexpected places, the lingering glances, the subtle but unmistakable signs that you are being observed. But surveillance isn't always obvious. In today's world, it operates in layers, physical and digital, direct and indirect. The watchers do not always reveal themselves outright. Instead, they leave patterns, and once you learn to read them, their presence becomes undeniable. Online, it starts with unusual interactions. Random accounts watching your every post. People who never engage yet seem to be tracking your every move. The sudden resurfacing of individuals from your past, reaching out under the guise of curiosity, but carrying a different intent. Posts taken out of context, words twisted and reshaped to fit someone else's narrative. In real life, it's the coincidences that no longer feel random. Seeing the same unfamiliar faces in different locations, overhearing strangers mention things about you they shouldn't know, the feeling that someone is listening when no one should be. They don't always approach, but their presence is a message. We see you. Your strongest weapon is your intuition. When something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. Do not dismiss the discomfort. Do not rationalize the repeated signs as paranoia. Those who watch you often rely on your self-doubt to keep their presence hidden, but once you recognize their patterns, they lose their power. Their attempts to track you no longer feel like control. They become confirmation. They are watching because they cannot help themselves. And you continue forward. Untouched, one of your greatest weapons is perception. You are not just being watched, you are being studied, analyzed, and interpreted. But here's the truth, you control how you are perceived. Even under scrutiny, you dictate the narrative. You decide what to reveal, what to conceal, and how much access others truly have to you. The watchers believe they see everything, but in reality, they only see what you allow them to. Your presence isn't just noticed, it's felt. You linger in minds long after you've left, unsettling those who cannot define you. This is why some admire you and others resent you, because they cannot figure you out. They cannot categorize. You cannot reduce you to something simple. Mastering perception means setting boundaries without disappearing. It means keeping people guessing, never allowing them full access to your essence. The moment you understand this, you become untouchable. To be seen is power. To be remembered is influence. But to remain unpredictable, that is what keeps them up at night. Obsession is a double-edged sword. The ones who watch too closely, who fixate too deeply, eventually destroy themselves. They think they are in control, that by observing you, they hold some kind of power. But in truth, they are the ones who are trapped, caught in an endless cycle of fixation, unable to look away. History has proven this time and time again. Those who try to contain or manipulate divine energy always meet their downfall. Empires have crumbled under the weight of their own paranoia. Powerful figures have fallen, consumed by their obsession with those they sought to control. The Watchers believe they are the hunters, but in reality, they are the ones ensnared. Their downfall is inevitable because their obsession blinds them. The more they focus on you, the less they focus on themselves. Their own lives become secondary. To the act of watching, studying, and collecting, they invest so much energy into tracking your every move that they fail to see their own unraveling. And while they are busy monitoring you, you continue to rise. You do not need to lift a finger. Their own fixation is what destroys them. Let them watch. It will be their undoing. You do not need to run. You do not need to hide. The power you carry is not something that can be diminished by observation. When you embrace who you are fully, the Watchers become irrelevant. Their fixation does not define you. It only confirms your significance. There comes a moment when you stop caring about their gaze. You no longer flinch at the whispers, no longer feel the weight of their scrutiny. You realize that their obsession is their burden to carry, not yours. Their eyes may follow you, but they do not control you. True chosen ones understand this. The Watchers only have as much power as you give them. When you refuse to shrink, when you refuse to let their attention alter your course, they lose their hold. They become nothing more than background noise, powerless against the force of your presence. This is how you transcend the hawk's gaze, not by escaping it, but by rising above it. You do not belong in the shadows, you belong in the light, and no amount of watching will ever change that. Let them look, let them obsess. You are untouchable. You were never meant to be contained. Your impact stretches beyond the eyes that watch you, beyond the whispers, beyond the silent observers who try to decipher your essence. They may track your movements, collect your images, and analyze your every word, but they will never define your legacy. Your presence awakens others. Every step you take, every truth you stand in, inspires those who are ready to rise. Your existence is a message, one that cannot be erased, no matter how many eyes are on you. The more they watch, the more they prove your significance. The true test of power is not avoiding surveillance, it's walking your path despite it. Chosen ones are not shaped by the opinions of others. You do not live for approval, nor do you bend under scrutiny. You move forward, untouched, knowing that your purpose is greater than their obsession. In the end, it is not the Watchers who dictate history. It is the ones bold enough to live fully, unapologetically, and fearlessly. No matter who is watching, let them observe. Let them obsess. You will still rise.